You have to look at all of that. Are you going to be able to replicate offensively what Debo does in San Francisco? And to Debo's point, he wants out, but he may go somewhere and find that the grass ain't necessarily greener.
Yeah.
Because he may go someplace else, and they might not be able to do what Kyle Shanahan's been able to do with him.
That's right.
And then he's going to get frustrated, and then they're going to ask him to take a pay cut, and he's going to tell him to go to hell, and the next thing you know, he'll be on the market again. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you just need to shut up and wait for the team to come to you with the right offer and go back to work, because San Francisco is the best place for him to be. And no, we don't need Debo in Philadelphia.
Back, Sports Take. D Gunn, B Brooks, R Ellis, each and every day, 12 to 3, right here, JAKIB Media YouTube Network. And without further ado, he hangs out with Barrett each and every Sunday/Thursday/Monday, sometimes Tuesdays, who knows when. and for that, he deserves, a medal and a halo over his head, and you name it. But you know him as an Eagles great, and I love the jersey he's got right over his left shoulder there from Jerome Brown. But the one and only Seth Joyner. Seth, welcome to the show, man. Thanks for hanging with us for the first time.
It's all good, man. It's been a while, gents. All of you guys. D Gunn, how you doing? B, how you
Good,
been, man?
What up?
Yeah, Seth, it's our pleasure, man. It's always fun to hang out with you. Well, I want to start with this because you may have been. I know you were just getting up and getting tuned in with us. If you heard any of that, so Deebo Samuel apparently wants out from San Francisco. It's going to cost a lot. We know that. We see with some of these trades and the King's ransom that some of the receivers are getting. Would you be aggressive in going after him, or would you try and go a different direction?
I was listening in, and I agree with D Gunn. I just think that the price is going to be too high for what you're trying to do, what you're trying to build long term. And look, Mike Shanahan, not Mike, but
Kyle.
Yeah.
Kyle Shanahan is really innovative in what he does. Okay. Do we have the type of play caller on our roster?
I knew he was gonna come. I knew you were gonna say that.
I'm just saying. Listen, when people look at players, okay, they see what players do in other situations with other coaches and in other systems, and they try to project what it's going to look like on their team. The media does it, fans do it, even organizational people who really don't delve deep into what makes a guy effective. You have to look at all of that. Are you going to be able to replicate offensively what Debo does in San Francisco? And to Debo's point, he wants out, but he may go somewhere and find that the grass ain't necessarily greener.
Yeah.
Because he may go someplace else, and they might not be able to do what Kyle Shanahan's been able to do with him.
That's right.
And then he's going to get frustrated, and then they're going to ask him to take a pay cut, and he's going to tell him to go to hell, and the next thing you know, he'll be on the market again. Sometimes you just need to shut up and wait for the team to come to you with the right offer and go back to work, because San Francisco is the best place for him to be. And no, we don't need Debo in Philadelphia.
It is curious. Like D-Gun approves. D-Gun you get the approval. It is curious, but you're right, Seth, because he does have an innovative play caller. I know quarterback right now is up in the air. You don't know if it's going to be Jimmy G or Trey Lance. I know that part's up in the air, but I don't know. Maybe it's just strictly a money thing, but you're right. I mean, there's major questions. And look, a couple of our commenters bring up a good point. He is used like a running back too, so he's taken some pretty good shots, even though he's not old. I think he's 26, whatever he is. Is that a concern at all?
No, that's not a concern because of how he's built. He's kind of built. If you guys remember Anquan Bolden, that's who he reminds me of more.
That's a good example.
More than anybody. I just feel like we're entering this era where players are so emboldened, that they can't wait for the opportunity, for the team to negotiate, for their agent to negotiate things the proper way. They're looking at what everybody else is doing. It's the same thing with Kyler Murray. I talked about it on my show yesterday. Just appalled. I mean, at what point in time do you just, you're going into your third year? The Cardinals don't have to do a damn thing for you. I mean, they got you for a whole nother year. You're going into your fourth year. They got you for your fourth year, and they got an option as a fifth round as a first-round draft pick. So they don't have to do anything. So these guys are complaining about being paid. You know, let your play on the field speak for you. And your value is already there. It's set. It's going to come. Debo, you're going to get paid. Everybody sees what you're doing. Everybody knows what you're worth. Okay? Just let the thing play out, you know, to step up in the meeting and be like, oh, you know, I want out.
That's just new. It's new. These new wave athletes. But the reason why I say, you know, I want a Debo Samuels here because we don't have enough here to really. I mean, just like we're talking about Jalen Hurts and his ability to go out there and throw the ball. What the hell? Who's he throwing to? He has one guy he can throw to. Well, two. Well, he can throw to Goddard. He can throw it to Smith. After that, man, it's a crapshoot on who can go out there and make catches that he throws anyways. I mean, come on, man. We ain't got anything here to really open up the offense enough to even show what this young man can do. I believe totally he's going to come back. He's going to come back a better player. Another year under his belt. He'll be able to execute the offense a lot better because it'll be the second time he's in the same offense as opposed to what he's been through the last couple of years. And, you know, he's not going to get a fair shake with the talent that we have on this team as of right now.
Okay, so let me say this because I know D Gun is itching. I can see him over there. I'll say this. As far as Debo is concerned, okay, do you fear his speed? Do you fear him stretching the field?
No.
So where Debo is most effective is in the short to intermediate routes where he can sit down, guys come up and they don't tackle well, and he breaks tackles and he makes plays that way. The other thing is that you use him on jet sweeps.
Yeah.
You know, and all of these trick plays.
Right.
And when you have a disciplined defense with disciplined defensive ends, it blows. The play that blows my mind the most is the jet sweep, especially for edge rushers who stand up in a 2-point stance. You see the guy coming in motion, and you stand right there and let him run right by you. You know, well, listen. In our day, if you were a defensive end, even if you had your hand on the ground, or an outside linebacker like I played, you know, the majority of my career on the ball on the tight end side. You can come in motion if you want to. You can get your head taken off if they don't block me. You're trying to get the edge. Come on. You know? And I mean, where's the communication? The inside linebacker should be screaming, jet sweep, just tell them, let them know. I don't understand how that play works. Okay? So now that's Debo. As far as, you know, your point, Barrett, about what Jalen has, I agree. He doesn't have a whole lot. And I think that the move that Howie made with the Saints is setting up for the possibility that if he doesn't step forward and do what's necessary, now the Eagles have draft capital to go out and get that guy that they believe is going to be the guy. I think that's the insurance policy.
Right.
Now, do they need to go? Should they have gone out and gotten him some more weapons? Hey, listen, is Zach Pascal the answer? Nobody knows. He was pissed off because, you know, Carson Wentz, you know, wasn't giving him, you know, enough balls last year. So maybe he comes in and he's a difference maker. Devontae Smith is going to be better. You know, we need to figure out, is Quez Watkins all he's built up to be? Or are we hoping beyond hope? Where the hell is John Hightower and where is he disappeared to?
Yeah.
Okay. Listen, we've invested in wide receivers, Barrett. For over the last, I think I ran the numbers. I think over the last 14 drafts, the Eagles have drafted something like 15, 16 wide receivers. And a lot of them, like 4 or 5 of them in the first round. So how much draft capital are you going to continue to spend on wide receivers in the draft over so many years? And now I'm hearing chatter, everybody, we need to take a wide receiver with one of these draft picks. Well, damn it, that's 3 first-round draft picks in a row at one position. Yeah. You cannot do that.
See, when I look at Debo Samuels, and again, I'm like everybody else. Not only do I like to analyze and critique players, but I'm also a fan of the game as well. And we get caught up in the name recognition a lot of times. When I look at Debo Samuels, putting him in his offense would improve this offense. But I don't know if he's suited, as Seth alluded to earlier, for the Philadelphia Eagles offense. When I think about the type of offense Debo Samuels would really flourish in, 2 teams come to mind, Kansas City and Baltimore. You look at the way they run their offenses with all their gadget plays, and they have speed on top of speed. So even when a Debo goes into motion and you're thinking jet sweep, as a defense, you got to say, well, wait a minute. If I step one way, the wrong way, I got this other speedster here that's going to put me on this highlight reel. I got this guy over here that can put me on this highlight reel. When I look at this Eagles team, for as good as Devontae Smith is, he's not a blazing speed. He's a great route runner, great hands. The only real guy that I worry about in this Eagles offense in terms of straight ahead speed is Quez Watkins. And we haven't seen a big enough sample size of Quez to know what he can do, what he can't do. And it goes back to the quarterback not being able to get him the ball enough. Or maybe the coach doesn't trust Quez Watkins. We've seen him drop a few passes. Every wide receiver drops passes. But what is the trust factor between the head coach and Quez Watkins right now? So that's why I'm not willing to give up endless draft capital to get Debo in here if I'm not 100% sure that he's going to give me the same production as he got in that 49ers offense. You guys know this, having played the game for as long as you have, and I say this time and time again. And I watched a lot of players come through this Eagles organization under Andy Reid who flourished in Jim Johnson's defensive schemes and who went somewhere else and was just another player, i.e., a prime example, Hugh Douglas. Hugh Douglas was a Pro Bowler in this defense here, but he goes to Jacksonville.
He got
paid.
He got paid, but he wasn't Hugh Douglas that we were accustomed to seeing.
Yeah.
You think about that. So would Debo be the same type player here in Philadelphia as he was in San Francisco? I think Debo would be the same type of player in Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy's system or in the Baltimore Ravens system because of what we've seen that offense do and the type of quarterbacks they have, proven commodities that have played the game at a high level, that have been afforded all these accolades for their individual prowess on the football field. Jalen Hurts is not at that point yet. This Eagles offense is not at that point yet. The Eagles offense thrived because it was a one-dimensional offense. The running game got this Eagles defense, coupled with the inferior opponents they were playing, got this Eagles team to where they got a winning record into the first round of the playoffs. What happened when they played a superior opponent like Tampa Bay? They got exposed, okay? So is Debo going to make your offense that much better to give up a first-round pick, possibly a high second-round pick? I don't know if I'm willing to give that up.
Seth, where do you fall with Hurts then? If I gave you multiple choice, believe, don't believe, to be determined this year, where would you fall with Jalen Hurts?
Well, see, I'm in the camp of, listen, when you're a former 8th round draft pick, you learn not to doubt anybody because everybody's doubted you first. Okay. Everybody talked about what I couldn't do. I was on a mission to prove their asses wrong what I could do. That's the first thing. So I don't talk about what a guy can't do until he definitely proves to me that he can't do it. I've seen Jalen Hurts make some great throws. I've seen Jalen Hurts make some great reads. Okay. The thing that we tend to forget is that, quarterbacks need time to see it all, and they need time to develop, and they need time to grow. So when everybody's, we need to go get a quarterback. Well, if you go and you draft one of these top 3 quarterbacks in the draft this year, let's just hypothetically say that that's what they do, because I don't believe they're going to do it. But if they did that, they would be starting all over again.
Yeah.
With Jalen Hurts started last year. Okay. Yep. Those guys have got to go through the growing pains. Those guys have got to go through being able to learn and see everything and understand disguises and coverages and how teams disguise coverages and blitzes and all of that stuff. Okay. So, and I saw a stat the other day, Jalen Hurts is learning his 6th offense in the last 6 years, going all the way back to college.
Right. It's true.
So how proficient can the kid be?
Right.
He should be so much better this year in this offense just because he's going into a second year. All the verbiage sounds the same. Everything for the first time, things sound the same. Okay. So let's wait and see what he turns out to be. I've seen him manipulate the pocket, and I've seen him, panic in the pocket. I've seen him scramble and keep his eyes down the field, and I've seen him scramble, and look at the rush. I've seen him make great throws, smart decisions. I've seen him do really, really dumb things. Okay. That's all part of the growth process. And the problem with quarterbacks is, see, when you draft a quarterback in the top 10, everyone says that he's the franchise quarterback. And guess what? The fans, the media, and everybody else and the organization is going to give him 3 to 4 years, okay, to develop and to grow. But when you get drafted 53rd overall in the second round, you better come in and prove it now, because that window of opportunity, that time for growth, people don't want to give you that, you know? And that's the thing I don't understand about the quarterback position. Why do we give guys that are drafted in the top 10 such a pass? And then guys that aren't drafted in the top 10, you know, we demand that they develop and turn into, you know, Peyton Manning 2.0 right now. That's
Right.
just stupid. It makes no sense. You know, so the Eagles are doing this thing the right way. Okay, if you gave the guy last year, you saw enough to believe that maybe he could be the guy. So you give him this year. Let's shut the heck up and see what Jalen Hurts turns out to be. Because nobody expected for the Eagles to make the playoffs last year. Nobody certainly do not expect for the Eagles to go to the Super Bowl this year. Jeffrey Lurie said, we are, you know, we're in an adjustment phase to what we're doing. Okay. The things that he says, code word for we're in a rebuild. Okay. We got some pieces that are really good. The defensive line, the offensive line is really good. We're stable at the tight end position. We might even be stable at the running back position. But guess what? We got some other pieces, especially on the defensive side of the ball, that we need to fix. You know, so this is the process. Okay. And it is what it is. I just think that, you know, I want to see what Jalen Hurts turns out to be, because I'm just not one of those guys that's going to sit here and say, oh, he can't.
Right.
Because I've seen too many guys that, and I'm one of those guys that was told you can't, okay, I'll make you eat it.
I think the Eagles this offseason, and even today when Nick Sirianni and Howie Roseman spoke, I think the Eagles did the exact right thing they were supposed to do this offseason. They have stayed consistent saying Jalen Hurts is our guy. Now, they haven't said Jalen Hurts is our long-term guy.
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Hurts is our guy. We're investing in Jalen Hurts. How many GMs do him and Haas say, well, you know, we have to wait and see. It's an open competition. You know, well, we're exploring all opportunities. What are you telling a young player when you say that? How are you enhancing his confidence when you say something like that? So for them to stay on the course and say Jalen Hurts is our guy, think about what that's doing for him when this young man has had so much outside negativity coming his way since last spring, not the summer, not just the season, since last spring, in terms of what he isn't to the organization, what he isn't to the fan base. People high on him one day, down on him the next. That's a lot of burden for a 24-year-old young man to carry. When we were 24, 25 years old, you guys were playing at the highest level. But think about the pressures you already had to worry about just to survive as a professional athlete. Then you look at guys like me and Rob, we never played. Imagine the weight of us at 24 years old trying to carry that burden, always looking over your shoulder, wondering what people are thinking about you. What are you saying? So considering what Jalen went through, and as Seth just talked about, Jalen had some good moments. He had a few great moments, had some bad moments, had some inconsistent moments. And the Eagles sat back and said, you know what? We're going to rally around this kid for at least one more year. And what did they do this offseason? They made some moves to put themselves in a great position. If Jalen doesn't work out in 2022, they can get back in and be competitive in the quarterback market in 2023.
What they did do is they declined to guarantee $240 million. That's what they did.
Thank you.
If you want to be honest, they didn't want to guarantee that money because they were definitely trying to go get a quarterback, but the price just went up too much. I see Jalen as a guy that on every level he's been on, he's had some success, and he's always surpassed what everybody else thought he was in every opportunity he was given.
Right.
So he became a quarterback that ran an offense that got him to the playoffs this year. Well, I see him surpassing that again, and maybe he does add another notch to his belt as far as being a guy that can go out there and run an offense where he could be more consistent with the pass. We don't know. We haven't given him an opportunity to know yet. I mean, he was working with an offense that Hell, the head coach didn't even know what he was trying to do. You know what I'm saying? He kept running that read out. That was the worst thing he could have did with Jalen at the time because it kind of made him a one-trick pony. I mean, they took away the run, they took away the pass, and now he's improvising. So as we go forward, I do think that Jalen will get all the help he needs to get outside of the Eagles organization, become a better player than he was last year, be more consistent than he was in the past last year. But still, the fact remains is there's no real veteran. There's no real playmaker besides Smith to really go out there and ball at the wide receiver position. They can double team, Goddard all day long. Double team Goddard and just turn the protection, or the coverage to Smith. I mean, to me, that's tying his hands behind his back. He's throwing with one arm and has the other one behind his back. We're not giving him enough to throw to. We're not giving him enough to grow with. And to me, that's counterintuitive what you want your quarterback to be in the situation you want your quarterback to be in.
Well, I think that the other guys have got to grow up.
Well, yeah.
You got to go in. You got to bring in a guy that pushes Greg Ward Jr. You got to create more competition.
Well, that's supposed to be Hightower
at the position. I was in favor of the Eagles, going out and getting a guy, at wide receiver, a veteran that could come in and help some of these young guys.
Right.
One of the main issues that I have, with the Eagles is, the way that they draft players. They want to draft guys that are, solid, moral type guys, the whole deal. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But when I look at drafting players, especially guys you draft in the first round, it goes beyond just what you do on the field. At some point in time, you have to have a component in your evaluation process where, okay, how much of a leader is this guy? Okay. Was he a leader in college? Does he have leadership qualities? Because that's the thing that I see lacking, on the Philadelphia Eagles, especially on the defensive side. You got guys like, Jason Kelsey and Lane Johnson. Those guys are going to forever be leaders as long as they're there. Okay, so that's there. Your quarterback has leadership qualities, but he's still developing. He can't step into that role until he claims the franchise, quarterback position. Then everyone can rally around, his leadership qualities, and his voice will carry much more weight. On the defensive side of the ball, we've lacked leadership ever since we decided to not bring Chris Long back and let Malcolm Jenkins go. Okay, who's the voice on the defensive side? Everyone would say Fletcher, but I don't see Fletcher, really stepping into that role. BG, yeah, but you know what? BG wasn't around last year, and no matter how much he was around on the sideline, it's different when you stand on the sideline and you saying something than it is when you out there making something happen and you say something. So how the Eagles draft to me is a big deal. Because when you look at really good teams, man, they got alpha dogs all over the place. Mm-hmm. Sometimes, you got to step outside of the realm of what's prim and proper and just go get you a growling, drooling pit bull, that every once in a while you might have to get in your truck and go get it. It's just, I get it. I get it. Organizations don't want no headaches. Okay. Mm-hmm. But when you look at good college teams, the ones that win, they got some of those fringe guys, okay. But then you got some coaches on your staff who know how to handle and know how to deal with that, and they know how to develop and lead men and try to lead that guy along the right path because you just need those guys, man.
Let me ask you this, Seth. Let me ask you this: do you think Gannon is the right guy, or was his hands tied behind the back because he didn't have his guys there?
I'm looking for a piece of paper right now.
Yeah, here we go.
Hold on one second. I just got done moving, man. And this is all my paperwork, man, for my youth football team, my fronts and coverages and whatnot, my blitzes in my office. So listen, We saw another coordinator. We saw another coordinator or another head coach in for the Eagles who used to have a play sheet that was about this big. Okay. What happened to him? Okay.
Yeah, there.
He's at UCLA now.
When I see Jonathan Gannon and he's got a play sheet about this big and he don't ever open it up like this, he's just on one side. Okay?
Right.
That tells me that there are some limits to what he brings to the table. Now, you can talk about him not having his guys. All of those things, that's part of it. I've been in situations before where I've been on a team and we've been undermanned. Earlier in my career in Philadelphia, not necessarily we were undermanned, but we were trying to figure things out. But that didn't stop Buddy from dialing up a blitz every once in a while. That didn't stop him from calling man to man. That didn't stop him, from like Nick Sirianni and Devontae Smith said, letting them hang.
Right.
There comes a point in time in the game where you just have to do that. If you got to call timeout, bring the whole team over and say, hey, this is what we're doing. This is what we got to do. Man up. Okay, I need you to man up. But you can't play conservative football in the NFL 95% of the time and think that you're going to win. And I'm still appalled. Listen, I don't have anything personal against Jonathan Gannon. I don't even know dude. Okay, my job is to analyze what I see during games. Okay, and he might be a great defensive coordinator, but from what I saw last year, I just don't see it. And I don't care if you went and you got Hassan Reddick. I don't care if you went and you got Kazir White. If they run the same type of defense that they ran last year, okay, they're going to get the same result. You want to know why? Because players take on the personality of the coach who coaches them, okay? And I just can't emphasize this enough because I've played in systems that have been overly aggressive. I played in systems that have been aggressive, and I played in systems that are passive, okay? When the defensive coordinator is making calls and he puts you in a passive mode, okay? He makes a passive call. It makes you passive. That's why when you see the DBs off the ball, and they can talk about situational football all the hell they want to, okay? But when you line up all the time, you off the ball 7-8 yards, the great quarterbacks are going to take that 5 or 6 yards.
All day.
Because you playing passive, now you coming up, patting your feet because you don't want to miss the tackle because you know if you do, all hell's going to break loose. You passive, okay? Opposed to if I'm up in your grill and I'm jamming you and you run that same route, I'm all over you. See, my mentality is different. When Buddy would call the blitz and I knew it was my number, there was a sense of urgency. There was no lollygagging trying to get up in the hole. Oh, no, I got a chance to make a difference. Let's go get it, baby. So I get it. There's certain times where you have to play certain ways and things that you do. But I just, this passive mode of football where, we're going to keep the lid on top of it. We're just not going to let them hit big plays. You can either die by death by 1,000 cuts or one right to the heart. Make your choice, But I would much rather take my chances at winning than hoping that we don't give up a big play and lose that way.
Right.
And to me, when I see Jonathan Gannon, when I see the way he calls plays, man, no. And there's a lot of people, man. I respect the hell out of Brian Dawkins. Yeah. He said he likes what he saw in that defense. Okay. Jonathan Gannon got a lot of consideration as a head coach. And I'm asking myself, how?
How? Exactly.
How? Because the first 7 games, did you just throw those away? Because when you played the upper echelon teams, do you realize the Eagles gave up 42 points a game against the damn Cowboys this year? Mm. They gave up a 42 spot to the Kansas City Chiefs. Okay? That I can just remember those because those stand out. Then you go to the second half of the season when you're playing the Sisters of the Poor, okay? And the defense rises all the way up to the top 5, and everybody wants to say, "Oh, look at this offensive coordinator. He's, this defense coordinator. He's a head coach material." Y'all done lost your damn mind, man.
You see, it still bothers me, Seth, when Gannon came out and said, we don't have a scheme. We have a philosophy. And then he tried to rectify it because so many people came down on him in the media in Philadelphia a few days later. I'm sure after he talked to Sirianni and the people upstairs, what I was trying to say was this. And see, when you look at the way his defense played, they were playing with a philosophy. Whatever that bogus philosophy was, that's what it didn't look like a scheme. There was no definitive scheme out there playing football. It was like a bunch of guys lining up, trying to figure out what the heck they were doing.
Hey, D, do you remember when he said, we're not a dime team?
Yes.
You remember that?
Yes.
He goes, "Oh no, we're not a dime football team. We're nickel. We got other sub packages." And I'm watching film 2 weeks later. Guess what they was in? Dime. I took a video of it and posted on social media. Oh, you just gonna sneak it in on us, like I ain't out here watching. I see that one damn linebacker on the field. I know what dime look like. I know what 6 DBs look like. Come on, man. You ain't dime. And then they have the audacity to tell the entire league that you don't run dime. So guess what they're gonna do? They're gonna scheme your dumb ass.
Right. I'm gonna bring in both tight ends on this dime defense.
Oh, man. It's funny. People ask me all the time, D-Gun, through the years, D-Gun, why do you think Seth is not a coach with the Eagles or in the National Football League? And after talking to a lot of former players about why they will not coach players up today, I said, you know why? Number one, Seth is too honest. Organizations don't want to hear that. And number two, Seth would not babysit a lot of these guys. You got to have a psychologist coaching players in the National Football League today. Seth is old school. Seth will coach every player one way. Get in your face and pat you in the back when you're right. Get in your face and chew you out when you're wrong. And people are like, really? I said, you have no idea. You need a psychologist for 53 different personalities nowadays. Some people can't take criticism like other people can. I said, I don't see Seth coaching because Seth is not going to play the corporate game. Now,
I think he should coach. I think he's coached Ben Simmons, Derek. I think he'd be very good with Ben Simmons.
If he coached Ben Simmons would be in an insane asylum, and Seth you got a hold of Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons couldn't take Seth Joyner.
Listen, let me say this, okay? I played for a guy, who, as crazy as he sounded to the people on the outside, it was always a mental thing with Buddy. There was always these mental games that was going on. Okay. What Buddy was masterful at is he knew each and every one of his guys. See, so if I ever got into coaching, like when I coached youth football, I had 25 kids on my team. I knew each kid to a T. I knew what motivated them. I knew which one I could get on and which one I couldn't get on, which one I had to pat on the back and which one I had to kick him in the behind. Okay. At the youth level, coaching older kids are no different. Okay. The first thing you have to do is get them to understand is that I want what's best for you. Okay.
Right.
And if I can get you to do the things that you need to do, guess what? You're gonna get paid. I'm gonna keep a job and keep getting paid. Okay. We all win. But when you're fighting against me, when I'm trying to give you everything that I got that I know is going to help make you better, then we got a problem. We got a communication problem. It's like, so I had a defensive end that just would not keep contained. And I stopped practice one day. I was like, okay, we have a communication problem because either I'm not explaining it the way that, that registers in your mind for you to keep contained, or you just ain't listening. So we need to figure this out. So he loses contain. I blow the whistle. I said, don't nobody move. Everybody stay right where they are. Okay? So I said, I turned to him. I said, how many teammates you have inside? He turned, he looked, he counted. He was like, there's 9 in there, coach. I said, how many players you got outside? He goes, there ain't but 1 out there, coach. I said, and he don't want to tackle nobody. Will you please turn the ball in to those guys, to your teammates? Just contain the football. Okay? That picture got him to understand, and we didn't have to have that conversation again. Okay? So now, there's a big difference between guys who receive coaching and guys who don't. My issue would be with the guys who don't and the guys who are not, who aren't committed to doing whatever's necessary. Listen, if as a coach, if I'm gonna spend 15 hours a day there trying to give you the information for you to succeed, and you leave your iPad or your Microsoft Surface Pro or your notes, because if I'm coaching, you're gonna be taking some notes in meetings. Okay, you leave your stuff in your locker, yeah, I'm gonna have a problem with that because you're gonna be the weak link. I done seen it too many times. I done lived it.
Yep. Seth, I don't play the screen, bro. I don't play the screen, man. You don't pay me to play the screen, man.
You going Fletcher? You going Fletcher?
Oh my God! And then the next week, guess who made a play on the screen?
Right, bro. You should have, dog. You could have bought me with a nickel, dog.
I would like to have seen that. I would like to have an ISO camera on Seth with the steam coming out when Fletcher said that. Man.
There are times we sit because we have to watch the game together. Everybody, we watch the game together in the office. I'm on one side of the office and Seth is on the other side of the office. I'll be sitting there. All of a sudden I hear, what? He can't even get it out.
Listen, man, it's tough sometimes, you know, when you see these guys and you know where they should be and what they should be doing, and technically and fundamentally how the game is supposed to be played. And they're just not doing it. And you know, you have to wonder, you know, because a coach told me this one time. He said, what you see on the field is either A, being coached, or B, being tolerated. Okay. One or the other. Okay. I'm just one of those coaches. I'd be one of those coaches that just wouldn't tolerate it. Okay. Like my edge rushers or my outside linebackers standing wrong foot up. I don't understand why coaches allow players to do that, because, you know, 80% of the time they get away with it because they like to push off the inside foot. Well, spend some time in the offseason learning how to push off the outside foot, okay? Because guess what's going to happen? When that jet sweep comes, first thing you got to do is step inside with your inside foot just to balance up so you can get outside, okay? So now you at a deficit. When they run the ball your way, okay, when they bring a tight end in motion and you stand in wrong foot, you know, and those plays happen at some of the most critical times of the game. And people talk about, oh, the offensive coordination. I'm like, no, what the offensive coordinator is smart enough to do is see that there's a technical deficiency, and they realize that we can get something over there. So they game plan, you know. So the players and the coaches, because the coaches tolerate it and the players feel most comfortable doing it that way, man, Buddy would have never allowed me to stand, you know, with my inside foot back and my outside foot up. Never, you know, under no circumstances. And his response would have been, if you can't learn how to do it the other way, then guess what? You can't play.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
You can't play because you got to play on both sides. So you got to learn how to get your feet right on both sides. It's just, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest detriments in the game today is when coaches are told from above, you have to play this guy. He's a first-round pick or a high second-round pick. I mean, you hired me to coach players and to put the best options on the field to win. And your guy who you might have mistaken by taking him as high as you did, now you're forcing me to put him on the field because you have to justify making him the high rep. I think that's bad mojo, man. But it happens. It's commonplace in the game today.
Well, to your point, D, whatever happened to meritocracy in the game? The best players play. Okay? It's just, it makes no sense. But these organizations are so sensitive to the things that guys like us say that, you know, they don't want to be in that position where they get called out for it. Listen, I always say that there's very few things that are certain in the draft. Okay. because you can measure a 40, a vertical, a broad, a 4-cone, the bench press. You can measure all of these things, okay? And now today, these players have learned how to game the system.
Mm-hmm.
When the bowl season is over, they come out here, they go to Exos Official Sports, they go out to LA, they go out to Florida, they train to be able to go to the combine and put up their best times. But no one's looking at, how good of a football player they really are, okay? Until they devise a metric to not only measure what's in here, okay, but what's in here. And I'm talking about football smarts, because I've seen guys bomb the Wonderlic test, and on the football field, they were football savants. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that's two different realms, okay? But when you can measure those two, that gives you a clear-cut understanding where you say, well, this is a no-lose situation, because you don't know what guys' motives are. I always say there's 3 different types of players in the NFL. There's the guy who plays for the notoriety. Everywhere he goes, he wants everybody to know, oh, I'm so-and-so, and I play for so-and-so, okay? Then you get the guy that plays for the money. When he get paid, he going to shut it down, and you're going to be asking him to take a pay cut in two years, okay? Then you got that guy that wants to be a champion. And he understands that if he just goes out and becomes the best version of himself, everything else will take care of itself.
Yeah.
The hard part is you can't get 53 of them guys. You got to mix in those other 2 bums, And when you get a roster like that, that's what makes it so difficult to win. And that's what makes it so difficult to say, that we drafted the right guy. Because you might have all of this information in front of you, but the one thing you can't measure what his motives are. You can't measure his desire, because guys can fake. Oh man, I love football, man. All day long, I watch film. Da da da. You don't know. I mean, Fletcher Cox even said, "Man, I don't really like football. I'm just good at it." Come on, man.
He told the truth.
Yeah,
he told the truth. I'm sitting back thinking, I never got paid. I never got the notoriety. I guess I fit in that third thing.
Hey, you got a ring, don't you?
Yes, sir.
All right, there you go.
There you go.
You're right about that, man. You're right about it, man. Life is, life is, when you're in the NFL, man, life is just so fast, man. But you got to be focused, man. And I don't see a lot of focus in that wide receiver room on wanting to be great, man. I see guys in certain positions, like offensive line, the coach is going to make you great. He's going to make you great. You want to get better in that room, in that meeting room. You want to get better. You want to play at a high standard. I don't necessarily see that in the wide receiver room. You know what I'm saying?
Listen,
is it coaching? Or what is it?
So B, gosh, what's the offensive lineman? Offensive line coach name?
Stoutland.
Stoutland.
Yeah,
So
Jeff
you
Stoutland.
know Jeff Stoutland.
Yep.
You 2 guys have been in the media forever, so y'all know Stoutland.
Yep.
Okay. Is anything else acceptable other than high-level play on that offensive line?
Nope.
Okay. So now, let's talk about the other position. Okay.
Here we go.
So my thing is, I believe this because I lived it. Okay. My development can be traced back to the level of coaching that I received.
Yep.
When Buddy Ryan and Wade Phillips was my linebacker coach my first 2 years in the league. And he drilled me. He rode me like a rented mule, man, for 2 years. Okay. Then I had Jeff Fisher for 3 years. Okay. By the time I got through those 3 guys and Buddy being on my behind every day, I had everything that I needed, okay, to be successful. So now, when these other coaches that I got, when they come in, the first thing I want to know, what tools can you add to my toolbox to help me get better, okay? The ones who couldn't add anything, listen, Give me my game plan on Wednesday and leave me the hell alone till Monday when we go over the film. Because I'm going to prepare. I'm going to be ready. But you can't give me anything else that makes me better. Okay? Coaching is just not about X's and O's. Coaching is about how can I evaluate the talent of a player and take his skill sets and create for him a toolbox for him to go on the football field and get better year after year after year. Now, the player has to want to get better. If he don't want to get better, okay, I might as well throw that toolbox in the trunk and forget about it, okay? But if he wants to get better and he's got a coach who has the ability to give him the tools each and every day and to hold him accountable every single day, he'll get better, okay? So when you talk about different positions on the Philadelphia Eagles, okay, let's evaluate who's doing the coaching, who's doing the teaching, okay? Because if you don't have those guys, then you arrest the development of your players, okay? That's why it's important that you have guys who understand not only how to coach X's and O's, not only how to be a psychologist, not only how to be a dad figure, not only know how to be, a friend from time to time, but a guy who knows the position and can teach you what to look at, what the technique is, how to use your hands, where your eyes are supposed to be looking, your footwork. All of that stuff is important, man. All of it is important to a young player's development.
Seth, phenomenal, man. Phenomenal. Hey, I want to remind everybody, Seth and Mike Quick, our guests coming up at 2 o'clock, they're going to be hanging with us, Ocean Resort draft night, which is only now 8 days away. Seth, we can't wait till you're in town, man. It's going to be fun hanging out in person.
Can't wait, man. Can't wait to see. And listen, I'm so sick and tired of mock drafts, 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, 100.0, man. Let's get this draft done already. I want to see who gets who and how it looks, man.
I hear that. Seth, we appreciate it, man. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks for joining us.
You got it, man. Anytime.
All right, that's Seth Joyner. Hey, guys, I do want to remind everybody, too, because this is going to be really, really cool. All right, so JAKIB Media luxury tour bus to the draft extravaganza presented by Stateside Vodka. All right, so you're from the region. You're interested in a seat on the luxury tour bus to Ocean Casino Resort for the JAKIB Media draft extravaganza. Pretty simple, man. Here's what you do. On the subject line, all right, just put Gunner invited me. Do you know that, Derek? Gunner invited me.
That's right. That's right.
That's what you do. That's what you do on the subject line. You email Krause, Kruesey, at JAKIB Media, JAKIBmedia.com. So on the subject line, Gunner invited me, and be advised, there's only 36 seats on the luxury limo bus, 12 for each show. That's us, obviously. Refreshments, food, special prize packs, and 3 lucky winners will sit in the VIP section for our live show. So we got a lot going on there, man.
Let me put this disclaimer out there before it gets out of control.
Yes, sir.
Put Gunner invited you, but Gunner is not providing ribs.
What?
Cost of meat is too much, man.
I'm going to talk to Krause about that, man.
Hey, look, man. Cost of meat, bro. I can't even feed my family, bro. We out eating cornflakes over here, man.
All right. Well, listen, the king of content himself, Joe Krause, JAKIB Media, will communicate with everyone this week and provide all the details. Let's fill that luxury bus, guys. It's going to be fun. I'll remind everybody about that a little bit later in the show. We come back, guys, 2 o'clock. We're going to be joined by Mike Quick. We might sneak in a little Phillies when we get back. It ain't getting any prettier from what's happening with the Fighting Phils. We'll do that when we get back. Barrett Brooks, Derek Gunn, Rob Ellis, Sports Take, JAKIB Media.